Welcome to the Focus and Zoom event. We're here with Chloe Carroll, that's the actress and filmmaker of the Honeymoon phase. Just so you know a little bit about Focus and Zoom, this ONZoom platform will mute and turn off your camera during the event. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I'll be monitoring that, and we can address any questions that you may have. And at the end of the interview, we will be opening it up to a live Q&A. So you'll be able to ask Chloe any questions directly. And that is when your microphone and your camera will be unmuted so that we can see and hear you. If you have any issues, you can also put them in the chat, and we'll try to address those. This is our first one, so you have to be a little forgiving with us. But so far, it seems to be working really well. And I'm going to turn it over to Dafna right now, and she's going to introduce Chloe.
Hi. Well, I also want to just welcome everybody to PWIFT's first Focus and Zoom. And Hillary actually came up with the name. We're very excited because, you know, at PWIFT, which is the Philadelphia Women in Film and Television, our goal is to really be able to bring quality programming and connections to filmmakers within the Philadelphia area. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we've been a little silent. And we've decided that let's try to do what everybody's doing and do a little bit more of Zoom interviews, because we really miss the, we used to have an armchair event with directors and producers. So we're kind of bringing this armchair event online, but to talk to different filmmakers. And we're so excited that Chloe agreed to do this first, be our first guinea pig for this. And our film's on Amazon. So we hope all of you have watched this film on Amazon before coming. But if you haven't, Hillary's got the trailer lined up for us in a bit. And again, I'm Dafna, Yachin, and I'm one of the board members of PWIFT. And I'm also a filmmaker, director, and chief creative officer for Lunchbox Communications. You'll see me looking to the right a lot because for some reason my screens are flipped. And so that's where I have my notes to make sure I have on target for questions for Chloe, because we wrote a bunch down to make sure that we get to ask her lots of stuff. And of course, Hillary is my co-host, and she's one of the top DPs in the Philadelphia area. And we just can't say enough about her being also on the board of PWIFT and helping us do everything online. She's amazing. And so she'll be co-hosting this with me, and she'll say a few words. Hillary, can you tell people a little bit about yourself before we intro Chloe?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Hillary Hanak. I'm a director of photography in and around the Philadelphia area. I was a gaffer for a very long time in Los Angeles for about 13 years, and then I moved back here to be closer to family. And I've worked on everything from low budget, big budget television shows, features, documentaries, you name it, I've probably done it. And right now I'm also the video content producer and director of photography at Aramark, and have a lot of other projects on the side that I do and create myself as well, along with Dafna.
And Hillary just had a COVID wedding this summer, so
I did. I just got married.
Newman at the end of that, and so we changed her last name, and she hyphenated it. And I'm just so used to calling her Hillary Hanak. We've worked together on a couple of projects, and I just enjoy everything that Hillary's just such a go-getter. So really happy that we'll be able to bring you this. And our goal today also is let us know what other, if you can put them in the chat later today after you ask them questions about Chloe's film and what we're doing, what would you like to see? We really want to know who you'd like to have interviewed as we continue to do these Focus and Zoom events over the next few months. I also want to be able to let you know we're going to try to get you on, and I think we can get people to ask the questions directly, right?
At the end, they'll be unmuted. Yeah.
Middle. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
So Chloe, we already talked to you for like 2 hours because we were so excited about the film. It's a really interesting psychological thriller or horror. I'm not sure, and you're going to tell us what genre that fits into. I know Hillary has actually done some horror shorts herself, so she's more in tune with that genre. And we can't thank you enough. So Chloe is an actress and a producer, and she's been working in film both in the U.S. and abroad. In 2017, Shutter Labs and Project Greenlight chose Chloe and her film partner's feature film project pitch for the Honeymoon phase which went on to become one of the top 5 picks in Shudder's TV's Real Fear Horror contest. In 2018, Chloe starred as Eve in The Honeymoon Phase and was the film's producer as well, which has been released by Dark Sky Films and now on Amazon. So if you haven't caught it, please go watch it if you haven't. Chloe also runs her own production company, Fear Crypt, which you can see on her on her lower third there, and Fear Crypt Productions, which specializes in short horror films. So we can't wait to hear more about what she has down the line. Chloe, could you we've been talking at you. Could you say hello to us for a little bit before we show the trailer, or let us know so that those that have not seen anything maybe can follow along and we can give them a little bit about the trailer and what you think you'd like to say about it?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Chloe. I mean, you said everything in my bio right there.
Well, let's move on.
Thanks so much for joining today, and I'm excited for you to see the trailer and answer any questions you guys have.
Hillary, you want to play that trailer for us?
Absolutely.
And so if anybody hasn't been able to see the movie, at least you get a little bit of a gist of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Hold on one second.
You know I love you, baby.
The Millennium Project seeks married couples to participate in a 30-day research study. Payment, $50,000.
We don't even know what this is.
I can assure you, we're just a group of romantics who, I must confess, are a little obsessed with love.
Say you'll be mine forevermore.
I hope you all enjoy your stay here.
Welcome to orientation. I'm your handler. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. These headsets will record your brainwaves as we discuss your experiences over the next month, hopefully leading us to uncover the truth behind the honeymoon phase.
I love it.
Don't trust Tom.
Hello?
He's not the man you think he is.
I love that trip.
Tom, I photoshopped you in. Ever since we got to this house, things have felt off.
If you can't trust me, maybe our relationship isn't strong enough.
I've been informed that you've been experiencing paranoid delusions.
From your file, I didn't think you'd make it past the first week.
What are you saying?
Yay!
How do you know it wasn't real?
I was with you.
Don't tell me to calm down. She's manipulating us.
You're the one running away, not me! I love you. And you learn to love me too.
I'm applauding because I just love the movie. So I can't thank you enough, Chloe, again, for being here. And I want to start when we'll go back and talk more about the details of the film. But tell us a little bit about your training, because you are both producer and lead actress in this film. So could you tell us a little bit about, and Hillary, I think you just need to, there we go. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you even were interested in acting. How did this all begin for you?
Oh man, that's a long story.
We got time.
I always loved movies, and I loved that they were a form of escapism for me. So like life's pretty boring for the average person, but then you can go home and you can watch movies. And as a child, I loved all the adventure films, and then I started watching horror, and it's kind of like that genre that you're not really allowed to watch ever. So it's the one you most want to watch because you're not allowed. And then I got really into watching horror films. And then when I got older, I wanted to primarily act, but I was always interested in the filmmaking aspect of it. And when I went to college, I studied performing arts, but I also studied film studies as well. And then it wasn't until I moved to America that when I met my husband, he taught me all the production aspects and how to actually make a film and not just study other people's films. So I just you know, kept learning and learning, and then I just kept making my own shorts. And then I guess by making your own shorts, you almost make your own film score and learn as you go. And I was lucky because my husband's a lot more experienced than me, so I always had someone who would guide me through anything I didn't understand, which was awesome.
So how did you get, where are you from, for one? And then how did you get to the United States? I didn't know if you, and I know your husband's on. Hi, Philip, wherever you are. We'll ask you some questions, I'm sure, to have you join in since she's referring to you. But how did you guys meet? You didn't come over here for Philip. You came over here first. And tell me about where you're from and how that all happened.
Yeah, I'm from Warrington in England, which is like a small town right near Manchester, so northern England. And I came here as an au pair, which is like an international nanny, because I didn't know if I wanted to go on to university after college. It's a little bit different in England, the college system. And I was like, oh, you know, I don't know if I want to study like on-screen camera stuff or off-screen camera stuff. And so it's like, I'm just going to do something completely different for a year till I decide like what I want to do with my life. And then when I came to America, I met Philip. Philip was totally into film. So
dating first or collaboration first? Which came first?
Well, we met online. So we met, like, we were dating, and then we both liked filmmaking, and then we started collaborating together. We actually we did a 24-hour film festival, which is, you know, the best way to test a relationship. We weren't dating right then, but like we were still like friends. But that certainly, you know, sets the standards of how much stress can you take, especially together. But yeah, God, it feels like a million years ago. It's actually our 5-year anniversary next month, so it feels like we just got married. But we are still in the honeymoon phase, and not one that's as shitty as Tom and Eve's in the movie.
So did you guys start collaborating, like continue after the was it the Philadelphia 24-hour festival? Were you guys in the, what area are you from? You're from Philadelphia area, right? I mean,
yeah, we're just in the suburbs, but yeah, I think it was the Philly one, and it was just, oh my God, so it was just so stressful because to do a movie in 24 hours and edit it, and we did a war film, so we had like mad war props and all this stuff, and just the set, and we really tried to like do something big, and it was just horrible. But the film turned out good. It's actually on the PGC Studios YouTube channel, if you want to watch it, so I can embarrass myself later.
We'll get Phil to put a list in the chat of the different short films where we can find them. So how did you guys end up collaborating or how did this feature get started? Like I started following you online. I actually started following Philip online, just cheering you on when you got into the contest. But where did the concept come from? And then how did it get from script to screen?
So it actually started with me and Phil wanted to collaborate on a feature, but our genre loves are so different. Like I love like horror films and like really dark films, and he likes like dramas and like very story oriented thrillers. And we were just clashing on everything we liked and wanted to explore in a feature film, especially because we knew it was going to be like such a big part of our life and so much time, and we weren't going to make any money for like years, and it was just like we have to both love it. So we wanted to like kind of mesh the genres we liked, and we did this like we did this diagram and everything that overlapped that we like were interested in doing. Like we were like, oh, we like experiments, like that's an interesting concept, and just everything, like every idea that we liked together. And then Philip came up with the honeymoon phase because we were in the honeymoon phase, and I think we were just lying in bed, and he was like, wouldn't it be like really, you know, creepy if suddenly the person you were married to wasn't who you thought they were? Because as newlyweds, that was exactly what's on your mind, you know, like when you first get married, especially if you haven't known each other for like a super long time before you get married, you're like thinking about 10 years in the future, and you're like, oh my God, will we still love each other? Or like, what if they change and I don't like that? And all these like frightening concepts we had as young newlyweds. and we put that into a film. People are like, oh my God, what is wrong with you guys? But that was something really real for us at the time. That was like a really big fear. So we put that fear into a movie. And obviously it's not like based on us in any way when you watch the Honeymoon phase, because it's really messed up. But just the fear and the concept of like not being able to trust your partner, because they're like the most important person in your whole life once you get married, is like they're with you till the end, hopefully, you know? So
did you guys collaborate on the writing as well then, not only the concepting? I mean, because how long did it take to write the film itself? Because it's very dark, and as you said, it's like the worst possible scenario for marrying someone and them not being who. But there's so many other things involved, and I don't want to give it away if somebody didn't watch the movie. But did you write together then? Did you go down this dark space, and were you laughing as you're writing it, or?
Phil wrote the movie. I definitely like read his drafts and like give suggestions and stuff, and he does that on mine. But he wrote the movie. We like came up with some little things together, but he wrote the final thing and like produced the final story. But yeah, like we still like he helps me on my scripts and I help him on his. But I can't take credit for writing because he did a great job.
Is this the first feature for you guys though? And then how did you get it? I mean, features can be so expensive. How did you get this made? Let's talk, because you're on Amazon now, and it's a really well done feature. I mean, it's not like it's really well constructed. It's well shot. So how do you get your first feature made?
So this is the question that everyone wants to know, and the honest answer is if you have someone rich that you know, that is the best way to do it. We were going to kickstart the film, and we then went to Sugar Labs with the pitch video before we were kickstarting, and when we started to get like we started to move up and keep getting, and then we got in the top 10 and we were like, oh, this is so awesome. Then we got in the top 5.
For people that don't know, I'm not sure that everybody knows what Sugar Labs is. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, it was this competition that was run by Project Greenlight, which is like a competition that helps young filmmakers and develops their projects. And Shudder is like the horror Netflix. So it has all horror films on. It's a streaming site. It's really awesome. And they kind of partnered up to do a competition where the winner of the competition won $300,000 to make their movie, and we got into the top 5. And then they sent us to Shudder Labs, which is pretty much like a retreat where a bunch of like filmmakers who have already kind of made it and already like well in their game of making features would help workshop the script and give us like tips and like just personal meetings where they would help us with any questions we had, and then the winner would get $300,000. And then we were like really excited. We were like, oh my God, this would be life-changing for us. Like we'd be able to make our feature. We wouldn't have to do like a Kickstarter, and it would just be great. And then we lost the competition, and we were like, and then it's just nothing. It's like you're in the like win for this like life-changing thing, and then it's like, oh, and then it's just nothing. And you're just like, the depression comes, and like all filmmakers, deal with depression because it's such a roller coaster of like success, failure, of like that emotional ride. And we were like, oh, what are we gonna do? And then right at that time, like when we were in the top 5 and everything was looking great for us, Philip was taking meetings with John Carroll, who is distant family member who was successful in other mediums that wasn't film, and he saw Philip's thesis film that had just been released at the time because it took him years to release it after college, and he was like, I really love this, and he's like, I heard about the competition, and like I heard about your pitch and your script, and I'm really interested. And we just started taking just general meetings, and then he was like, I'm interested in partnering with you and actually opening a film company and starting something with you guys, and also putting some money into the film. And so we just got really lucky. And if you look at a lot of first-time filmmakers' stories, a lot of the time people won't fund your feature if you've never done a feature before. So it's this weird catch where like if you haven't done a feature, no one trusts you to do a feature because it's unless you can prove it yourself. So most people, you know, go in, even if you just can somehow raise like $25,000 and do like you can do like a decent feature with, you know, like a very low budget, but like a feature film, and then you can show that, and if it's good, then people will be like, all right, I'll trust you with 50,000, and you just kind of like, but it's that like catch where you're like, well, if you have no access to money, you're never going to be able to do a feature. So then you have to do, you know, you can do a short film and then try and use that as a proof of concept to get the feature done, but it's tough. Like I've only done one feature and I don't have any answers because I got lucky, but it is tough. And also, when me and Philip went to the AFM a few years ago, we went to this like finance meeting. It was like literally how to finance your feature film. And I've never seen, it was so ridiculous because there was like 4 people on the panel who were all successful, who avoided the main question of the panel for 2 hours. and there's a bunch of people like me and Phil in the audience like, where do we find money? And no one will tell you where to find money because everyone's financed by random people and they don't want you to know the financer because that's their financer and they don't want the competition. So it's like, that's just how it really is. You know, like people will have different stories and some films get, you know, picked up from short films, but just being honest to filmmakers, you know, it's finding the money is the hardest part because no one has it.
It's true. It's the most difficult question that no one answers, and it's very difficult to go look for it. The grants are minimal, whether it's feature or doc, and then having to try to find that financing in any other way is who you know, and that's very difficult as an indie to try to get that done. So now that you guys when you got the financing, how were you able to crew up? Did you have enough? I don't know if you can tell me what the budget for your film was in the end, what you were able to, because you guys did a Kickstarter as well, didn't you?
No, we didn't. We had to put we did it very clever when we did the pitch video for Shudder Labs is we filmed 2 alts. So we filmed one saying, please support our Kickstarter, and we filmed one saying, please vote for us in the Shudder competition. And we luckily never had to do the Kickstarter alt version of it. But yeah, I wrote my second feature, Phil has his second feature, and now we have to figure out how to get those funded. I did the short film version of it, so I can use that as a proof of concept to try and get it funded. But yeah, we're back in the game. So see how it goes.
Well, so tell me more about it. Then how did you crew up? Was it because we had talked earlier last week or 2 weeks ago where we talked about, you know, now for your other films, it's Friends, and you guys were in Philadelphia. You just moved to Los Angeles, right before COVID. So there's an added addition to being somewhere new. But you did this film in Philadelphia? Or tell me where you shot this film.
Yeah, we shot this film in Philly, New Hope, and surrounding areas of Philly because all of our connections to crew and cast were in Philly, and like all the actors we knew, you know, were either in Philly or New York. And then, you know, people are more likely to help you with locations in your hometown. And again, it's like your connections who you personally have. So like if you like, Phil's new film is got a lot of classroom scenes, and so the first people he'll go to is his school teachers and be like, oh, do you remember when I studied here? Like, you know, it's just who you know who can help you with things, and all of our connections are in Philly, and we just moved to LA and we know like no one here. It's so different and so expensive to do everything here. Like locations can be like $1,000 an hour to shoot in LA. Mm-hmm. And we are not used to that. Like Philly is just so much cheaper. People are more excited about film in Philly because it's not like part of every day. In LA, everyone is a filmmaker. The guy filling your gas tank up is a filmmaker. Everyone's trying to make it in LA, so it's so expensive and so, you know, competitive. But in Philly, if you're filming a film, everyone's so excited. They're like, I would love you to just film here for free because I love film. You're like, great.
And that said, I know you're living in LA, and Suzanne, I have more to ask about the film, but somebody had asked about if you guys have day jobs. I know you moved to LA, and you had told me what you're doing now, and I'm not sure what Philip's doing. are you guys working during full time as well or part time?
Yeah, I am a nanny, so that's my boring day job. But especially during COVID, like everything shut down. There's like and we came here to pursue film, and then we thought that the COVID would be over much faster than it was, and here we are. Still, it's just starting. Like films and shows are just starting up now in like April, but the COVID protocols are like, really strict. Like I'm doing a film end of February. It's like my first gig as an actor that I got booked for. And like thank you, and the rehearsals, like it's like, all right, when every rehearsal, test before the rehearsal, then you do rehearsal, then it's test, and it's test before each shoot date. There's got to be a COVID compliance officer on set. Everyone's just like literally, like I just had my first rehearsal on Saturday, and that me and the other main actor were tested, and it was just like really weird to take my mask off. Like I've not took my mask off to anything. It's like taking your bra off for the first time. Like when you're like, this is who I am. And it was just so weird. I felt really weird. And then like in the film, like we were in a relationship and we were close, and it was just weird. Not like, it's like you're just so weird, like social distancing and everything.
You're away from someone for so long.
Yeah, and it just feels so like.
To the honeymoon phase though, because speaking of taking your bra off, and and Phil wrote and directed this, and you produced and acted in this, and I know I was fascinated because you had very minimal locations, which I think also probably helped and we'll talk about again your budget, but what we were able to, the house was fabulous. If anybody gets a chance, again, watch it on Amazon. The bookshelves were out of this world, the crazy crooked bookshelves in the living room. I'm like, who made those? But with Phil directing the film, there are a lot of, as an actress, it's a big deal in Hollywood now talking about women in sex scenes. Now, because it's of the nature of the script, you have sex a lot on camera and your husband's directing. And how did that go? And especially you're with a new, and how did you choose the lead actor? How did that all come about?
Jim's great. He's a little bit more experienced as an actor than I was for the feature film. So that was really good because he was there to help. And
he's looks like young Leonardo DiCaprio when you watch him. It's really like, oh, look at young Leonardo.
I've heard that comparison before. But the one thing Philip wanted when he was casting the movie is he wanted the actor to be married, so they understand what it is like to be married. And we found Jim because he was just awesome in the audition, and I'd worked with him before. He was in one of our commercials for Smile Builders, which is like a dentistry commercial that our company did. And then we did this like short horror film, and we were like girlfriend and boyfriend in that, and that was like a soft audition for Jim that he didn't know about for the film. And then Phil loved Jim, and he was like super awesome to work with. Well, with the sex scenes, people are always like, is it weirder because it's your husband? And I was like, it's actually great because like you're never going to be, for me, I've never felt more vulnerable being just totally naked with a lot of people just like watching. And to have like your partner there means that you feel like safe, and especially when your partner is in control of the whole set and whatever he says goes. Like if he was like, we're shutting down the set, like my wife doesn't feel comfortable, like that's just great. That was really great for me. And yeah, they're not, I mean, anyone who's done...
Intimacy is all over this film. I mean, that's why it works, because you see they're in love. It's the honeymoon phase. There's so much intimacy, and to shoot that kind of intimacy, I mean, did you guys what kind of pre-pro did you go through to make sure, both as actors and producers? So if you could tell us a little bit about that kind of prep for the whole film and understanding where you were going to go with the couple, because it's, there's a lot of films that they try to low budget first film, try to shoot in one room or one house, but this is so different. And that's why I just kind of loved it, because of the tension that was created, but also there's so much intimacy. Can you talk a little bit about that kind of prep?
Yeah. I mean, you can't really prep for doing nudity. It's not like you audition, you're like, let's go through the scene naked just already. But it's not like it doesn't, doing the actual scene as an actor is not how it looks on screen. Like, you just feel stupid. I mean, yeah, it looks super romantic on screen, but the reality is there's a close-up of me, like, and like I literally, there was a close-up of me in the sex scene. I was like, Jim, can you shake me? Because like I can't rock myself. Like, it's really weird and it's stupid and you just want to laugh. Like, it's not sexual at all. And like the angles, like it's like, all right, now let's get a close-up of like you grabbing her waist, and I'm just like sat there off screen, you know, and there's like I don't know, like it's just not romantic. It's like funny, like me and Jim just laugh the whole time, and then you're just serious for like the 3 minutes of filming, and then
did you cruise or rehearse? Because there's also, like I said, that intimacy that goes back and forth and back and forth, you know, as far as because there's tension that, and I don't want to give away if nobody's seen it, but we asked you to watch this film before you joined us today, but so go watch it. But then there's that kind of transition where you don't know if this person is real or not.
Yeah, I mean, with movies, you always film out of order too. So like we would be shooting one scene where we were like super happy and in love, and then one scene where like we hated each other. So like there's a lot of jumping, but we did do rehearsals, which were like honestly a godsend, because it was that, you know, the first time you you even just hug another actor who you don't know, it's like you are complete strangers, and then you're about to play like in love, you know. So like doing the rehearsals were really awesome, and Jim's like super friendly and nice, like so it wasn't like weird, you know. I was like really nervous. Like when I was first working with Jim, I was like, what if like it's just really weird, you know? And then you like have to jump into some of these scenes. But he was really awesome. He's a really good actor. So it was pretty easy playing off him. And then any scenes that were just on me that weren't on him, but he was in the scene, he would always like stay and like give me what I needed as an actor. So like if I was like crying, because there's like a lot of crying in the movie, and I just needed I needed something to like make me like really give a reaction, and I wasn't getting it from like the normal dialogue in the film. I was like, can you just shout it at me? Like no one will ever see you shouting at me, but like I'm like, can you shout the whole scene at me? So it like startles me. And then when we did Jim's, I would do whatever he needed. He didn't need as much help as I did. He helped me a lot with being off screen, but yeah, if you get a good scene partner, it's much easier to emote.
Did you guys cast, because there's other characters like the hologram people and the lead doctor who's really good and looked very familiar, did you cast with an agency, with one of the casting agents here in Philadelphia, or did you kind of do a call anywhere else online for your cast?
We just self-casted. We did like Backstage and Actors Access, which are all the main ones. Tara was from New York, and she's like a more seasoned actor. Like she's been in a lot of stuff, so she was like super experienced, which was awesome for us because me and Jim were pretty new to the game. Jim has been in a few things, but this was my first feature. And then Francois we flew in from LA because he's a professional actor, you know, like that works just as an actor, and Phil like really wanted him because he loves Lost. He's like an obsessed Lost fan, and Francois in that. And then when he agreed to come on the movie, it was just really exciting for us because he's, you know, famous to us, you know, like he's
really good. And then how did you find your DP? Like, how did that come about for your crew as well? And I know I keep asking, and I want Hillary to ask some of the technical questions, and if Philip needs to, I'm sure you know as a producer, so please let us know a little bit more about the crew. And, you know, did you have special effects? Your graphic effects were amazing for a low budget feature film. And then also any kind of other, you know, all the bloody and the ending scenes with the bloody effects kind of thing. So can you talk a little bit about your crew and who you used and how you found them?
Yeah, actually, Joe Staley, who was our DP, we met at Nifty Film Festival like years before, and he was premiering, I think it was his thesis film. I'm not sure if it was his thesis, but one of his first shorts, and it was just amazing. Like, he's just so talented. And we met, and Phil was premiering his thesis film, and we were both from Philadelphia. We were like the only two people from Philly, and we were like, hey, because we were in Seattle, And we just talked to him like a random stranger. We're like, hey, we're both from Philly. We're both Philly filmmakers. And then, you know, kept in touch. And then he ended up shooting some commercials for us. And then we did the feature together. So if that's not an advertisement for why you should go to film festivals to meet other filmmakers, because Joe's amazing. He actually lives in LA now too. So he was apart from us for a few years while we were still in Philly, but now he's here. So now we just have a DP in LA now, which is great. And then we had a visual effects team. So there was a bunch of VFX artists.
And where did you find them?
So we met Rob. He does a lot of my short films with me. He is just a really great VFX artist in Philly. Phil knew Rob. I can't remember where they met, but they were friends. And then another guy we knew was the brother of a friend. So again, it's that like network of who you know are the first people you go to, because you trust other filmmakers' recommendations of who you know. So there's a lot of people that we knew, and then there was some new people who we'd never worked with on set too. Can't think of like all the crew now, but like our makeup artist did our commercials with us. You know, the AD we brought on was a friend who'd AD'd other stuff. So yeah, most of them are like your friends or your loose connections.
I heard one of our members did your costume design. Diamond, or Simone Holland, I heard, did your costume design. So Hillary just texted me earlier today to tell me.
Nice. Yeah, she did. So like everyone like knows each other in Philly. So once you grab a team, then you just want to work with them all the time, because you know that their work is good.
How many days did it take you to shoot this?
So we had 21 days to shoot, but we ended up doing it in 20. We actually finished the day early, which was great. Yeah, so pretty average for an indie.
Yeah, so that's a good long amount of time. They're doing, you know, with low budget indies, they're even shorter. What did your budget end up being? Do you know from what you did? I mean, that would be really interesting to notice because it's become an Amazon.
Yeah, we were on the SAG ultra low, so it was under 250.
That's great. It's amazing what you did for that amount. It really is.
Yeah, thank you.
Really, really amazing. Hillary, do you want to add? I know that I'm going to look over to the right again. So are there any other questions we have tons of questions, but I want to make sure that we, with a short amount of time, that we get to people. And again, please put your question in the chat, or we're going to open it up to questions in a few minutes. I know I really was surprised because the most difficult thing, and we talked about this with a bunch of producers, is how you even get one of the most expensive scenes to do is a hospital scene or hospital gear and equipment. And your ending scene, you've got like this, it almost looks like an emergency room with really high tech. It doesn't look fake. And that's really difficult to do because you can really tell when people are trying to do fake hospital scenes. And you have this really clinical looking set that's needed for the whole sci-fi thing to get pulled off, the whole crazy, what we find out happens. And again, I'm trying to be elusive for those that still want to watch the film. How did you get that? Was that did you have a location manager? How did you get an ending scene like that?
So actually our most expensive scene was the scene at the top of One Liberty Place. That was $1,000 an hour.
That was a beautiful scene. Absolutely beautiful scene.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. It was just, we were having a heart attack. We were like, all right, we can only be here for 3 hours.
Hurry up and get married. Let's go.
I know. We put a lot of that scene too, which was just, Murphy's Law. But the hospital scene, we actually shot in an abandoned wing of an actual hospital. So we didn't have to wait for a real hospital to clear out or anything. We just shot.
The old Penn Hospital here downtown?
Croziers was called. Croziers Hospital.
Right.
And it was literally just for the scene, I guess, with all the hospital beds. That was actually just one hospital bed, I think. No, it wasn't. There was a bunch. I can't remember. A lot of that scene is VFX. So we actually VFXed a lot of stuff in, and the machine next to the beds, there was only one, and we just cloned it. So it looked like the room was bigger than it was. And then I'll have
Is
to
that
send
the
you
scene
guys
with
a
all
picture.
the women in the beds? That's the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
actually
I wondered
all
how
the,
you did that. That was really interesting.
all the PAs lay in the bed and the VFX tower in.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it looks a lot bigger and more like more stuff going on than actually was.
That was excellent directions for I mean, for a culmination, for a climax in the film. It was like, wow, it was just very impressive.
Oh, thank you. I'll Phil, if you're listening, if you have that photo of all the green screen before, go ahead and put that in the chat. Because the room looks totally like, for me, for my acting, I was acting to just literally green on the wall, and it's like, this is how it's all going to be. But it didn't look like that on the day. But I thought it looked really cool in the film in the end, so that was awesome. But yeah, a lot of that was the VFX team.
And then you did a whole shoot up scene where you like just took on a gun and just like all of a sudden you turned into Miss Superhero. And and we won't tell anybody the ending because then it just flips again. But did you get training if this was your first feature and was it your first time with guns? Did you guys have an ammunition expert on the set?
It was just a plastic gun. It was a fake gun. It wasn't real. And it was just, I wasn't, because it's like, I think it's I don't know guns at all. I think it was a machine gun, but he was like, you really have to pretend that it's doing this. And I was like, I'm so sorry. It's like, you can't just hold it, because it would be like, it's really heavy metal. And so yeah, I was definitely faking the whole thing, because I've never even held a machine gun. Like, I have no idea how it would actually be. I know that scene is pretty far-fetched, but she's pretty mad in that scene too, that she just murders everyone. But,
yes. I don't blame her. She got pissed off at that point.
She's been through a lot in the film, and she's done, and it only gets worse, honestly.
And before we open it up for anybody to ask questions, I'm trying to see how we can get everybody on here. You're talking about with the Fear Crypt doing more shorts. So what's next for that? And also, could you talk a little bit before we end about your distribution, how you finally got it sold, how you got it on Amazon?
Yeah, so distribution-wise, we went to the AFM and we took meetings with a lot of the smaller distribution companies, because we just couldn't get meetings with the bigger ones because we were nobodies. Like, we still are nobodies. Like, we made a feature film, but it was we're like the little fish still. Like, until you climb and you start getting like famous people in your movies, like, no one's interested. It's all about star power. So like, before they even watch the trailer, like a lot of films at the AFM sell off who's in your film. They don't even want to watch the trailer. But they're like, oh, you have Bruce Willis in, we'll sell this movie, we'll buy it. Like, they don't even care what the plot is. They don't even watch a trailer. Some people don't even watch the movie and they buy it. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's literally where like creative film goes to die, it just becomes the business. And it's like, I can't sell it with nobodies, you know? Like, it's just the harsh reality. So we took a lot of meetings, but then like, we didn't feel like any of the companies that made us offers were right for us, and we were like, oh, we're never gonna, it was just super depressing. And then we were talking to our friend Jen Wexler, and she'd done her movie, her first feature, a few years back, and she was like, talk to my sales agent for that movie, like, he was amazing. So then we talked to Andrew Van Den Hoon, and he came on our movie, and he helped us tremendously. He ended up selling it he came on as our sales agent. He then sold it to Dark Sky. Like, we wouldn't have got Dark Sky without a sales agent. Like, literally, like, you just need people who have better connections than you, and you need to bring them on your project. Otherwise, you'll just kind of sit in your little indie pool that will never be able to rise without help from people who have already done it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and then also we messaged a bunch of, when the movie came out, we messaged a bunch of outlets to try and like get them to do like a press release, and like no one was interested. Like, we just couldn't get people interested in the movie, and we were like, oh man. And then once we brought a sales agent on and it got distribution, suddenly those people who wanted nothing to do with us then helped. So it's just all
There are connections to them with the PR, and that's what's really difficult. I mean, I was lucky with my first film, but I got to tell you, my second film, I didn't think was going to go anywhere. And then Gravitas just looked at the trailer, as you were saying, and I'm like, asked the guy, did you watch the film? Oh no, but the trailer's great. And we had one guy that was actually the stunt person from The Walking Dead, and I know that's why they bought it. They're like, oh, you've got Tommy Turvey, this is perfect. They never watched the film. I think they finally, in the end, when we were just going into final submissions, did they take a look at it for quality?
Yeah, it's
interesting what you said, that you say that. And then the sales agents, I think, really help you then, because you need press. And that's the other thing. If a distributor doesn't give you press, then nobody watches the film. Did your distributor help you then, once you're on Amazon, continue to get press? And did you go to film festivals at all before going to distribution?
We did. We went to some film festivals, but then when we got our distributor, then Fright Fest were interested in us, which wouldn't have been interested without the distributor. So then the best advice that I can give is bring on a sales agent before you even make your movie, because they will have the connections to help everything along the way. And also sales agents, just people who are better connected with the festivals, because then your festival run determines sometimes who your distributor is. They won't look at you unless you've been in a certain amount of high tier festivals. And then, Phil's got the.
And we pulled up the shot for you, so we unmuted him. So Philip, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having Chloe today. This was really fun to watch her talk about the movie.
And as you know, if you guys have been listening, Philip is the writer and the director of the film, and married to Chloe. And so the two of them have done this. But what are you showing us behind you, Philip? Again, congratulations on the film on Amazon. It's an amazing film. It was very suspenseful, and I've been following you since you started posting about it on FB. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, this is the scene. I guess it's over here. This is the scene that Chloe was referring to with the lab in the film with the green screens, and there's all the empty hospital beds. And in post, our amazing VFX team, they replaced all the green screens with the digital LCD screens in the movie. And cloned Tara, who's laying in the bed back there right now.
It's very cool.
That's very, very cool. That's why I was wondering how you guys did it. It was such an excellent, your VFX were great between the holograms and then the whole after scene, the ending scene on especially this hospital scene was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the hospital was really fantastic to work with. They had a lot of old equipment that was in storage, and they said, we're not using this, it's outdated, so if you guys want to use it as props in the movie, you can. So we took them up on that and tried to do as much production design in that room with what they gave us as possible, and then augment that with the visual effects.
Very, very cool. You did a great job. I want to open it up. Chloe, I know I talked about your next, what's next for you. And you're doing some of these shorts. Do you have another feature in the works, both of you together or separately? I know you said that you're writing, both have written features, but are you already trying to raise funding for them? And are they horror? Or
mine is horror. Actually, the trailer for I did the short film version, which I'm going to release soon. But I did the trailer for the short film is on the Fear Crypt YouTube channel. It's called Alicia. The feature film will have a different title and follows a similar story, but it's different. But yeah, mine is very horror. Phil's is a dramedy. It's like a high school dramedy about anxiety, and mine is about a vampire story with a Beauty and the Beast theme. So that's all I'll say. You guys have to watch the trailer.
I have so many more questions, but I really want to open this up to talk so other people can talk. Is there anybody out there now that we have the chat that wants to raise their hand and tell us, and we'll undo your camera so you can talk to Chloe a bit?
So, Dafna, while we're waiting for people to do that, we actually do have a couple questions in the chat that we haven't addressed. And then I have a question for Chloe as well. So, Chloe, Suzanne Landau is, she's the president of PWIFT right now, and she's on with us. And she was asking what the average size of your crew was. She was so impressed that you shot your film for that budget. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think trying to think of the total size of our crew. Phil, can you put that in the chat? Phil will know better than me. His memory is better. This was like literally 3 years ago that we shot this now, but it was a small crew. Yeah, Phil's going to answer that question in the chat while he's there.
Okay, great. And then we have another question from Diane Cooney. She asks, how long did it take for Philip to write the script?
Yeah, Phil, do you want to come back on?
Sure. So the average crew size, I think it was around 20 people or so. And for the script, we started outlining it right after we got married. So that was like March 2016. And then I was editing wedding videos full time during that period. So I would outline at night. And that was probably like about a year-long process off and on. Like we were debating a few different ideas at the time too. But from the time that I started writing it to when I finished the first draft, I think it was about 3 months because I told Chloe that it was going to be the first year anniversary gift ahead of time so that, you know, I couldn't not write it. I had to get it done in time.
You had a deadline.
Yeah, so I gave that to her for our first year anniversary. And then it was about 9 months after that first draft that we shot it. So I just continued rewriting it over the course of those 9 months until we started shooting.
Do you know how many, like what color you were on? How many rewrites do you think you have before you actually?
I think we got up to buff. Which I don't even know what that is.
Look at my color chart to find out.
But everybody was making fun of me because while we were in production, you know, I'd be rewriting as we went, you know, according to like discoveries that me, Chloe, and Jim would make. And it was like every couple of days, because of those changes, we'd issue a new color. So everybody just started, you know, making bets on what color we would get up to.
Have you guys been able to, I'm curious, and I'm sure everybody here has, now that you're in LA, and what made you choose to go to LA, and then have you been able to get representation in any way?
Chloe?
So we have the same managers now. And one of them is Andrew, who was our sales agent. He started a management company and was interested in me and Philip. And he's, you know, hopefully going to be involved with our future projects. And he was a great team member, and we want to do stuff with him in the future. And now he's our manager. And we have 2 other managers who we didn't know until we got to LA, but they're part of that management team also. And then we're going to start looking for agents once everything starts opening back up, because since COVID, everything kind of just went on hold. And a lot of agencies just like started, like the smaller ones too, started just like doing their own stuff and becoming individual agents instead of working for the companies, because there was so many like layoffs and everything. So it was like a weird time to submit because everyone was kind of like, I don't know what's going on, or when we're opening again. But hopefully that all starts up soon. And both of us are going to be submitting to agents. And we came to Los Angeles because I feel like New York's the main hub for TV, and Los Angeles is the main hub for movies, and we wanted to give it a try here and meet other filmmakers. And yeah, I feel like, you know, although you don't have to be in LA to be a filmmaker and make films, it's definitely the biggest hub in America. So we wanted to give it a shot.
Now, you talked about, we had a question from a couple people just joined us late, and so I want to make sure that we get some to their questions because they might not have heard. You talked about the duration from script to screen. Could you tell us again how long it took you for the film project from start to finish?
From the writing to it being completely good?
Going into distribution.
It's like 3 years, right, Phil? Yeah, 3 years. It's so depressing when you say it like that. It takes forever. You can never. You're stuck with once you have a script. If that's the one you want to do, just make sure you're ready to be stuck with it for like forever. But yeah, it's only literally in the last few months that Phil's even just started concentrating on his next script, because you still end up doing, especially because you don't have the money to pay people to do all the stuff like the tax credit and, you know, promoting your movie and everything. It's just so.
And did you guys get a tax credit for Philadelphia, for Pennsylvania? Did you apply for it and get it?
We did. We
wow,
felt so lucky. Phil did all the tax credit stuff himself.
That's really difficult to do.
Yeah, I just remember literally I came home from work one day and there was just receipts all over our apartment, just all over the floor, and it was like, this is what was done in Pennsylvania, and this is what wasn't, and how we have to add it up, and it's like literally like 23 cents was spent here, and then that has to go on books, and you're just like, oh my god, I can't even. It just took so long, and then I would come home at the end of the day and help him like organize everything, but he did the bulk of it. Like, it's just so much work, and especially like, you know, when you direct, normally like you're just doing the creative stuff, but Phil did like so much for this movie. Like, he did like all the a lot of the financial stuff, you know, and a lot of the just paperwork that you just don't think you're gonna have to do, and you just end up, it's just, and none of it's fun, none of it's to do with the film, it's just the business side. And we also started a business, Aspire Motion Pictures, with this film, so then all that company stuff came with it, you know. And then yeah, it's not like when you make short films, it's just like, let's just make a short film. It's like, all right, we're making a feature, which means you need lawyers, you need like a business, and then like you have to plan for everything that could go wrong. And then like there's the financial, you know, the financials where you're like, you know, are we going to make money from this? Where do we put the money? It's just, yeah, it's so much worse than doing a short, but obviously so much better.
Right. I mean, it is very time intensive that you have to find out, and you learn from so many people that your first short very rarely, your first feature very rarely makes a return. For indies, it's very difficult with all the people that come into play to get a return. So it truly is a passion project, and you guys have so much passion. It's nice that you found each other to lift each other up with that together to make these films.
Yeah, I feel so lucky. We do everything together, like in our personal life and our business life now, but it's a good partnership when you find someone.
Before we have Hillary ask the last question, your mother-in-law, I think that's who, is that Colleen Carroll? Is that your mother-in-law is cheering you on the chat?
She has two questions, actually.
Colleen, can you ask me off the interview? She's very supportive.
Wants to know about doing your own stunts, and then Hillary has a final question for you.
Yeah, I've not done any big stunts. Just in the honeymoon phase, without giving it away, I did the end scene, I guess. I do my own stunts. They're only small ones, but I guess I can say that.
She was saying that after you stabbed Jim on the arm, then and you pull, she gave it away in the chat, so we can say it. When you pulled your hair and he threw you, it looked so good. Did you get hurt?
No, we had like mats and stuff. It was all super safe, and yeah, everything on screen looks more than it is when you actually do it. It's actually pretty pathetic. It was tiniest fall, but then on screen, like with the angle and everything, it looks more.
I wish we could talk to you guys longer. It's such and bring on Phil. We'll have to have you back when we do more of a technical as well, because I think it's such a great anatomy for an independent, low budget film that looks much bigger budget. So I still recommend for anybody who hasn't seen it to watch the film. I know you might not like horror, so close your eyes in some of it, but it's more psychological thriller. It's very cool. And Hillary, I know you had a question or two you wanted to ask.
I do. I actually was kind of curious if you guys had thought about doing like a honeymoon phase 2 and basing it off of one of the other test subjects that were in the film. Because I think there was at least a group of 10 couples, I think, something like that in the beginning. And they all go off and you kind of see what happens to the one lady, but I won't give it away, you know. And I think it'd be really interesting to see what was happening in those other houses, you know. Did you guys ever think about branching off and making a sequel?
I don't know about a sequel. I feel like Phil's done with the story now, but we did originally have that in the one of the original drafts of the script where you did see the other couples, and I would pay money to watch John and Julie and see how theirs went, because he figured it out pretty quick. Like, It's because they were obviously married for much longer than Tom and Eve, and they just like straight away, and poor John and just couldn't do it anymore. It's just like, I can't live with this woman. But I think that would be maybe a short film, and that would be really cool. But yeah, we
The Honeymoon Phase interactive, so you could go to all the different houses. HBO should pick it up, and you can just go to all the different homes that it happened in.
From the handler's point of view or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah, because we also had the story element of the director and the handler and who they were before they did the experiment. But when you keep doing drafts, you just keep cutting things, and then. But yeah, that they would all be really cool things.
It'd be a very interesting mini-series if every episode was a different house, you know?
Yeah, so. I would just love to watch the John and Julie one. Those guys are so funny.
We can't thank you enough. I would like to just take a few minutes here to ask Hillary. Hillary, we have a couple of events hopefully before March, but Hillary, could you talk about the block film coming up?
Absolutely. So our second Focus and Zoom event is going to be with Carrie Brennan, which I believe she's on here today listening to Chloe's. And she has a short film that she wrote and acted in as well. She's going to be doing a virtual premiere on March 4th. So our event is going to be at the end of March, so we don't interfere with her virtual premiere. I was actually director of photography on that, and a couple other people in our chat today worked on the film as well. So we're going to have more virtual programming coming up, and we'll be sending out posts and updates about those as they unfold. So hopefully we'll have more sooner than the block premiere virtual event as well, but we'll keep you guys posted for sure.
And if there's any suggestions, because I see we have some great people on, if there's a filmmaker you know about that's released something that you think is really interesting, especially we focus on women filmmakers, and or any topic that you'd like to see on Focus and Zoom or for PWIFT to present, we would love to do so, as we're trying to develop our programming. We want our members and all the women that we work with to help us think of good programming to bring you.
And Chloe, keep us updated on any of your projects in the future. Yeah. We would love to bring you back again.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Chloe, I can't thank you enough. It's been such a joy. I've loved watching the film. I've following you and Philip online for the last couple of years, and to see it come to such great success. So please stay in touch with us, and we can't thank you enough for taking your time today before the Super Bowl, which I think Hillary's watching. I'm not.
I don't know I'm watching.
Like, are you watching? I don't know who's watching. I'm going to watch Puppy Bowl after this. But again, and everybody who's come in, please thank you for your questions. It really helped us. And we look forward to you coming back to see us on Focus and Zoom, and come back with us next time. And please let us know, because this is our first one, what you would want to see, how we should handle this. We need to learn. This is a new format for Zoom called ONZoom, so we really appreciate go Buccaneers. Thanks, Colleen. Your mother-in-law's hysterical. She's shoveling, she's cooking, she's cheering everyone on. She's amazing.
No, I read the comments here.
Like, read her chats. So thank you guys very much, and we hope to see you soon, and I can't wait to keep following you guys in your next film, and let us know how people can keep watching.
Thank you. Yeah. If you haven't seen the movie, please check it out. And if you are into horror, please watch Fear Crypt, which is my YouTube channel. We've got lots of horror stuff on there, and also the trailer for the short film that's coming out, which is the story of the feature film that I'm hoping to film in Philly this year, hopefully. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, and good luck with everyone's film projects.
And we have the website that Philip posted on the side, which is great. And we'll also, this recording, we're hoping this is working, that we'll record, and then members will be able to see the interviews as we do the different Focus and Zoom chat. So we'll be able to give you that interview for you to show, be able to watch again. Thank you guys. Everybody have a good Sunday. Thanks, Hillary.
Bye-bye. Thank you guys.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Hi, Susie. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in so long.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming on. Anything you can tell us about the Women's Film Festival? I know that we've been asking Fong that you guys I know are going to push it a bit.
Yeah, well, right now, fingers crossed, we're scheduled for July 23rd, I believe, through August 1st. We have open submissions, and we have a lot of the films from our 2020 program. They're going to shift over to 2021. But it's going to be a hybrid festival, indoor and outdoor, or virtual and outdoor.
Oh, well, that's great. And we were telling the Block people and Fong that we're hoping to be able to partner with you guys to promote the film festival and for you guys to get to see Block. I think Hillary was looking for a link for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Again, we're looking forward to that. But you're doing well. I haven't seen you, and so like the thing with COVID, missed seeing you in person.
I know, but it's good to see everybody here. You missed. I had a 1-year-old nephew here just a moment ago. He just took off.
Well, good, because it might be a little too soon for a horror film.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys again, and we're also going to do some Zoom connections so we can have breakout rooms and people can still continue to connect, and that's one of our goals also. So thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.